one of the questions I had for you is watching, because you've been an FD or been a pro FD driver since 2012, I believe, right?
Mhm.
So what would you say has changed the most since your start in as a pro till now in FD?
The level of grip,
Okay.
pretty much. Like the the level of grip is the reason the cars are so powerful, so hard to drive. Like everything comes from the grip and the speed. Um, yeah. Other than that, like, yeah, I guess it's really just the grip, and like it's insane. Like I always tell people, like, I wish I still had my FD car and a stack of 285 Achilles to just be like, go drive this and see what it feels like, because it's the most insane feeling of how fast the cars are. And I haven't been in it for 2 years, and from the looks of it, the cars are getting even faster.
Yeah.
Like you watch some of the live stream and it like almost looks sped up because they're going so fast.
Right. So, because basically most of the drivers are still the same drivers, and most of the tracks are still the same tracks. So, what do you mean by grip? Just for people that are watching, how like you talking mechanical grip, car setup, tires? I mean, tire size is pretty much the same from what I remember. So, what do you mean by like more grip?
Tires are different. They're
Okay.
like, sure, it's still the 615, the Falcon, but it's a 615K plus.
Okay.
So the compound's changed. And if you ran a normal 615, like the old, I don't know what, 2009 tire against the 615K plus, same size, same everything, it'd be night and day, completely different.
Okay.
And like Nitto's with I think it's a 315 40, like that tire is insane. And it's not just the compound of it, it's how they built the tire. Like if you watch, you can watch some videos of the tire moving, and it looks like a wrinkle wall drag tire almost.
Right. Okay.
Like the movement those tires can do, and like, and also the mechanical. Everybody's figured out how to put all this crazy mechanical grip in their cars. And like, it's also funny, like every year, it's been the same since I started. Every single year, you do something different. Because we'll be like, oh, this is it. This is the pinnacle. It's probably not going to get better than this. And then next year, 3 rounds in, it's like, oh, this car that was a rocket ship at Irwindale last year is now like creeping through the track, and everybody else is 5 miles an hour faster than me.
That's crazy.
Huh. I got a question in regards to the tires. So let's say you get one of those tires that you just mentioned, and you put it on a standard Toyota Yaris. What kind of effect do you feel it's going to have on the drivability?
Drive terrible.
Okay, there we go.
Drive so bad. Formula D cars drive so atrocious unless you're drifting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's gone to a point where the experience and just everybody's getting so much experience setting up the cars and constantly making changes and making tweaks to really, because that's really what you got on the track, is to outperform the other drivers. So you guys are just pushing each other and pushing each other and pushing each other.
Yeah.
And it's just evolving the sport so much. And for a long time, it seemed like Formula Drift was like the grippiest cars, but you're starting to see that now over in Europe, especially this season, right? I mean, those cars, they're in
Drift Masters,
they're ripping.
Yeah. Crazy fast.
Yeah.
But what does that do to like somebody, let's say somebody coming into FD as a rookie and they've never set up a car like this? And because if you were a rookie back in back in 2010, even 2012, like when you came in, the cars were kind of closer to what people normally set up their cars at in a regular fun day or whatever. But now the cars are so crazy. If you're a rookie coming into this, how much harder does that make it to be competitive right off the bat?
It's slowly turning into one of those things that it's like, I don't want to say unobtainable because it's not, but it's becoming so ridiculous of like, even the jump from Pro-Am to Pro 2 is ridiculous. And then the jump from Pro 2 to Pro is crazy. Like it's the, and it is talent, but I would say talent based on experience kind of thing. but even still, like, kind of going off a little bit, like the tire rule for Pro 2, the 255s, I think it's great. But then you go to Pro 1 after you ran a season on 255s and you're like, man, I made my car super fast. I'm used to it. I'm way faster than all these other Pro 2 guys. It's like, okay, well, bolt this 315 Nitto onto your car and run it at, I'm not going to say the tire pressure they run, but it's extremely low, and tow your car in a bunch and make it do all these crazy things. And you go to drive it and it's like, oh, you can't. It's just like an impossibility to drive the car. It's just testing and all this stuff. And you can see the dudes that do it right because they're the ones that are involved with pro teams. Even if it's not necessarily RTR or Drift Cave or like a big team or Rockstar, whoever, they'll just be involved with a program, like say a rookie. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to run Pro 2 next year. They get to see what everybody else does. And you kind of like progress from there. And a lot of the pro guys they're not going to give you the setup sheet,
Of course.
but they'll tell you quite a bit of information.
Yeah. Cause I mean, it's still on you you can have the perfect setup, but it's still on your driver to make it do what it's got to do. Right.
Right.